You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Hello and welcome to Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about Jiu Jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a first degree black belt who teaches at H2O Martial Arts located in Oak Park, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, Zachary Holston III.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, great.
Man,
Just excited about being here.
Man, I am ecstatic right now that you are actually doing this episode.
Oh, man, it's an honor.
All right, man. Let's give the people what they want. Let's go in and hear about your jiu-jitsu journey.
All right, my jiu-jitsu journey. It's actually kind of strange. I've been in martial arts most of my life, from the time I was a small child, taekwondo. I boxed at the legendary Kronk Gym. I've trained some Aikido, some Judo, a little bit of Krav. Then, we go all the way back to 1993. I'll never forget. It was literally in November, just like now. There was this thing coming on TV, and it was called the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And at the time, there was all kind of tough guy contests and all of that. But me being a fan of blood sports, if you will, I remember watching that, and everybody had their pick as to who they thought was going to win. But what was funny is almost nobody picked this one dude named Royce, and back then not understanding the Brazilian culture or the Portuguese, everybody was like, who is this Royce Gracie with this gi on? He gonna get smashed. You're looking at guys like Ken Shamrock and these physical specimens, but here this guy came in and just shocked the world.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, it was like, wow. So, the internet wasn't like it is today, but there wasn't a lot of it, especially in Michigan. So you would pick up things where you could, little bits and pieces. Then let's fast forward to back around, I believe the year was around 2010. Wanted to get back in shape. So I was like, okay, there's a boxing school. I used to box. I know exactly what to expect. But I got there. They also had this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that I always wanted to try, was always fascinated by. Mm-hmm. Went to one class, and at that moment, I was hooked. I've always been into puzzles and things like that. So when I got there, it was a puzzle. I will never forget this guy named Nick Kennedy. He was much smaller than me. And I'm like, okay, with my background, some wrestling, I'm going to do just fine. And it wasn't even a full roll. We were working sweeps that day. And, I'm like, I'm going to pass this guy's guard. But no matter what I did, he just kept sweeping me. It just blew my mind. How is this guy much smaller than me? And at the time, I was over 400 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, come on, man. How is this little 200-pound guy just whooping me like this? And, at that moment, you can just say it's history. I was hooked and have been ever since. Then fast forward, I was struggling. I mean, like, I was a white belt, like most white belts. We struggle, Everybody struggles at white belt. But I didn't realize it then, but my struggle wasn't just a normal struggle. My body just could not get into the positions that were being taught. Not that there was anything wrong with it, but it was, new sporty jiu-jitsu, and it just did not suit my body. And I will never forget, they had an advanced class, and Big Derek taught this advanced class. And everyone is just like, man, you might as well not even waste your time going to that. You ain't gonna be able to do none of that stuff. You need to be in beginner, not advanced. I got to the advanced class, and the very first class, every technique he showed, I was able to do. And not that I was clean at it, it was great, but I was still able to hit it to the point, took those techniques, got back to the regular class, and I was still able to pull them off when it was time to roll.
Mm-hmm.
Well, looking back what it was, Derek was a big guy. He was 6'5", about 270. It was old school smash jiu-jitsu. And I was just able to do it. And I mean, at that moment, I was super hooked. But again, I had, advanced class once a week, followed with all of these regular classes, but everything that he taught, I was able to add to my game. So I just began searching out this old school, what I best could describe it as big man jiu-jitsu. I didn't know it was old school. Big man jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And I remember I got an app, and it was by this guy, named Roy Harris. And it was like, oh, wow, it was all about pressure. And it was a game changer for me. Doing some research, his instructor was this guy named Master Joe Moera. And
Joe Moera.
Then come to find out, there was a couple of guys that was training under Joe within the same organization that I was in. It was a Machado organization. It was up under black belt Jamel McCurry. And I met these other guys that was training with Master Joe. And man, the rest is history. And now I train directly under Master Joe. I opened my school. Everything is under him. And it was funny. So I was just soaking it up like a sponge, doing privates and all of that with Master Joe. So let's fast forward some years. Now I'm a purple belt, and I decided I want to start teaching jiu-jitsu. So start shopping, found a building, and it was like, okay, this is it. I don't need it every day of the week. I had another buddy of mine who taught kickboxing, and I called Master Paul. I said, look, I know you've been looking at doing something in this area over here. I've just found a building. I'm getting ready to sign a lease on it. Why don't you come in and go with me? He started laughing. He said, I just already got a building. Why don't you come and teach jiu-jitsu there? I was like, okay, bet. So went to build a jiu-jitsu program. The school was called The Compound. It hadn't even opened yet. Mm-hmm. So got there, we had fighters, kickboxers and MMA fighters. So that was what I taught. I started teaching them. A year into it, Master Paul's partner, Pete passed. And he was, the financier behind The Compound. His daughter didn't want to keep it going. And we actually had people who had fights coming up. It was like, okay, we got to do something. So I said, you know what? I was ready to do it a year ago. Now is the time. So I bought all of the equipment from her, went and found a building, and H2O Martial Arts was born. And
amazing.
Yeah. And since then, it's now over 7 years, and we're still going strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Such an awesome school, man. But I'm sorry, go
ahead. No.
So with you dabbled in a lot of martial arts. So besides, I know we talked about this numerous times, but like being able to find techniques for your size and weight and everything else, but like, what else was it about jiu-jitsu that really like drew you to it?
It was a puzzle, it was, I'd say 90% mental and 10% physical. Now, when I first started, it was like 99% physical and 1% mental because I didn't understand it. But once the deeper I started looking, I ended up just going down the rabbit hole and realized it's not about being the fastest. It's not about being the strongest. It's not about being the most flexible, the most agile, you know, none of those things. It's about being the
Mm-hmm.
smartest. And I mean,
Right.
man, I just ended up hooked. And, during that time, it was crazy because right around the time I started, I filed for divorce. I was going through a divorce. And man, I was training 7 days a week to the point
Right.
I was literally going to other affiliate gyms, friends' gyms. Some days, 2 a days, a few days was 3 a days. That was my life, at that time. It was jujitsu that kept me sane. It kept me from
Mm-hmm.
focusing on everything that life was throwing at me, and just it was the perfect release, if you will. I always talk about this. One of my favorite movies of all time is Fight Club,
Mm-hmm.
and I could really relate to it, and that was jujitsu for me. There's one line in the movie that said, uh, "After fighting, the rest of the world has the volume turned down," and
Mm-hmm.
it's so true. After class, after a hard day rolling, it doesn't matter what you're dealing with that day. It doesn't matter what you're going through. Uh, it's not. You're able to look at it clearly. You're able to address the problems in life just like you do during a roll. You have to remain
Right.
calm. You can't panic. You can't spaz out. You have to think your way through it. You got to learn to get comfortable in some uncomfortable positions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just helped me in every aspect of life because that's what was needed. And now it gets to the point where, jujitsu is my therapy.
Yeah.
If I'm out, I'm one of those crazy guys. I go on vacation and will take a gi with me. You know, as a result, I have literally trained at places all over this country, other countries. I have friends from around the world, all as a result of jujitsu, to the point where
Right.
90% of my friend base is jujitsu related. You know, it,
Yeah.
it has just grown that big in my life. I never dreamed that I would have friends in France. And this is funny. One of them in particular, his English is not good. My French is not good, but we both speak jujitsu.
Right.
And,
Right.
and between jujitsu and Google Translate, we get it done. But yeah,
Right.
it's just been amazing, an amazing journey.
Man. Yeah. I mean, even since starting this podcast, I've met people from Spain, UK, Australia, and all because of the love of jujitsu and just the amount of people that I'm meeting just here in the US as well, that this one martial art that took off and is continued to take off, especially after ADCC and all these big tournaments that's being like broadcast, and just the amount of like love for this sport is growing, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah,
It's amazing to see.
it's incredible to the point. There was one organization that was around for a couple of years. It called Metamoris. Kelly
Mm-hmm.
Gracie, had Metamoris, and I used to literally go to watch it live. I would fly out to California, buy front row seats, and literally watch my jujitsu idols just get up there and battle, and it was amazing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was literally there when Josh Barnett submitted Dean Lister. I was right there in the front row. So I mean, it's just man, it's just been mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and some people are like, "Oh, well, you're a Josh Barnett fan." Well, he does catch wrestling. Yeah, I love catch. I love my Aikido. I'm not one of those guys
Mm-hmm.
that's ever going to belittle, a legitimate martial art. Now, we're not talking no contact knockouts, the McDojo stuff. We're not talking about that. But every martial art has its strengths and its weaknesses.
Uh-huh.
And I'm of the mindset of let's take it and put it all back together the way it should be. Yeah, my wrist lock game, that's Aikido all day long. My
Right.
takedowns, I use 90% judo takedowns, 10% wrestling takedowns. And it's not that, oh, I just like the judo so much better. I got a lot of city miles on my body, and my knees are shot, all of that. So the level changes, I can hit them, but I pay for it the next day. I'm in pain later. But with the
Right.
judo takedowns, the judo throws, I'm not wrecking my knees as much. Notice I said not as much.
And not
I'm
as
still doing
much.
damage, just not as much. But I had all of that in. One thing that I embrace, being in martial arts my whole life, I'm a retired police officer. I look at it as a self-defense first, where a lot of people are like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a great sport. No, it's a martial art. It's about self-defense, defending yourself. Sport is great. That is not my focus. I am not a point
Mm-hmm.
fighter. I am fighting to finish the fight.
Right.
Again, and as such, yeah, I work a lot of catch into my jujitsu, a lot of judo, aikido. We deal with strikes as well, and defending against
Yes, sir.
strikes. I mean, you've been through quite a few of our tests now.
I've been through a couple. I've been through a couple.
When you got jujitsu versus strikes, and
Mm-hmm.
something it's really fading a lot with today's jiu-jitsu and
Yeah.
today's sports focus. When I hear some people talk about testing and I start talking about our testing, they're mind blown. What you mean you
Yeah.
got to defend against
Yeah.
strikes? Not just strikes, kicks, punches, elbows. We do 2-on-1s too. Two people
Yep.
striking. Now we let you strike back during that portion of the test, but yeah, you're fighting two guys. And I got a simple way, something that I said a long time ago and I still stick with it. If you can't do it while someone's trying to punch you in your face, you can't do it.
You just can't do it.
Uh, I don't work a lot of or teach a lot of inverted sporty techniques. Now, if situation calls and I have to, yes, I can work inverted. I will do it in a heartbeat. That is not my choice. You know,
Right.
I'm of the mindset of Chris Harder, who says, "Get on top, stay on top." You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's all about: getting on top, staying on top. The whole purpose of my bottom game. Look, I will gladly submit you from bottom, but if you defend, I'm getting my sweep. I'm getting on top.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to submit you. You know, but it's all about
The submission's coming. The submission's
the
coming.
submission is coming. But it's a lot easier when I'm on top. When I'm on top, gravity is my friend. When I'm on
Yeah.
bottom, it's my worst enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really love the self defense aspect of it.
Yeah. I can definitely say the same. It's I'm one and the same when it comes to like my mindset when it comes to jiu-jitsu because I love puzzles, I love playing chess, and jiu-jitsu is exactly both.
Oh yeah,
They're
absolutely.
one and the same. You have to be able to find your focus and focus on strictly on jiu-jitsu to do jiu-jitsu
Right.
because if you don't, you're dead.
Exactly. And my approach to jujitsu is very scientific.
Mm-hmm.
I to the point. I said, okay, if I really want to be good at this, I need to really understand how the body works.
Yep.
So I started studying anatomy. I mean, from the muscular skeletal system to understand exactly how these joints work and also how they're not supposed to work. That helps, in setting your locks and setting everything. But I took it a step further and even pulled back the layers of some of the traditional martial science and martial arts, and started studying the nervous system and where this nerve runs, where that nerve runs. And we always talk about jiu-jitsu, and we start thinking, oh yeah, it's just joints, chokes and joint locks. Chokes and joint locks. No. It's just grappling. Yeah, until someone hits your radio nerve, and it feels like lightning shot up your arm.
Right.
It's good to know those things and work that into your jiu-jitsu. It just makes you so much more proficient.
Yeah.
What really helped me understand that, it's funny. I'll say this. One of my good buddies, me and him, we both started around the same time, was training together. He's a physician, and now he's my physician. Why? If I trust you to choke me, I trust you to treat me. But no. It's really cool because it's not a matter of if I get injured, but when I get injured, because it's going to happen. I can go to him and I don't have to spend the next 30 minutes trying to explain what happened to my shoulder. I can literally say, yes, an Americana, I didn't tap soon enough. He knows exactly what's wrong.
Right.
It's really cool. I'll never forget. One time was training, freak accident. My big toe was sticking out to the side. I sent him a picture of it and said, look, I can get you in the office tomorrow, but you really need to see a foot specialist. And he gave me the number of a foot specialist. He's like, call. I'm going to let them know you're calling. Call Dr. Anthony Giordano. So I call next day, that morning. They say, yep, come straight on in. We're waiting on you. I get there. I'm sitting in the office. The door opens up. The guy walks in. I'm like, Tony? Now, I know Tony G. I didn't know Anthony Giordano, another jiu-jitsu buddy. But turns out he's a foot surgeon and foot and ankle surgeon. It's just my dentist. Yeah, he's an Aikido guy. It's funny because, not all of the doctors that treat me are in the martial arts. It has the ability to consume your whole life.
Oh yeah. I fell down that rabbit hole with clothing, jewelry, anything that is jiu-jitsu related. I'm trying my best not to buy, but I'm losing this battle slowly but surely.
This is the funniest thing in the world. So again, when you came to my gym, new white belt, boom, and this happens to everybody. It really starts happening. It happens a little bit in blue, but if you get to purple, man, you will own everything purple. Purple keychains, purple belts, purple, you name it, a phone cover. It's purple. I'll never forget. I had a water bottle, and actually, I still have this water bottle. I bought some white electrical tape, and I literally put belts on my water bottle. When I got promoted, so did my water bottle. But it literally becomes, it becomes that big. It's really, and it's all good feelings. It's not like, I got this new cult I just joined. Now there are schools out there that are a cult, but that's a whole nother conversation.
There's a whole nother conversation right there.
But and just good fun. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret, and because this is a podcast, I'm telling the world. Okay, but as long as you and the world promises not to tell nobody, we good.
It's secret safe with us.
All right. When I first started jiu-jitsu, do you know my goal? My goal was to stick with this long enough to make it to purple belt.
Okay.
Because during that time, it was hard finding black belts. You can, most of the school owners around, especially in Michigan at that time, you had, a lot of them was purple and brown belts. So when I first started, man, a purple belt was like a ninja. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was like they're wizards. This is incredible. And that was that purple belt. So I said, you know what? I want to stick with this long enough to get the purple belt. So kept training, made it to blue belt. I'm like, okay, yeah. All right. I keep this going. I can get the purple. Got that first stripe, second stripe, third stripe. To that fourth stripe, it was like, wow, it's almost here. And the purple belt came. I said, you know what? I think I can go a little bit further. I can stick out till brown.
I can hold out.
By the time I got, that third stripe on my purple belt, I was teaching then. It was going amazing. And it was funny. It was literally, I was a 4-stripe purple belt when the gym I was teaching at closed. And it was almost time for me to get ready and test for my brown belt. And I opened up a gym, and literally it was less than a month later, I was testing for my brown belt. So when I started H2O, I was brown belt. And and still learning the business. I understood business. I have businesses, have been running businesses, but running a martial arts school is different than running any other business. There's 2 different paths that you can take. Mm-hmm. And I'm going do okay. There's the easy way. Then there's the right way. The easy way. Okay. If you be a McDojo, basically just giving away rank, participation trophies, if you will. Now you will have no integrity, but man, people will come to your gym. They will come because they're getting quick rank. Or you can do it the right way with integrity and actually rank. You don't obtain rank based upon time. For example, I got guys that have made it to blue belt in just over a year. I got guys that it's been a few years and they haven't made it to blue belt. Again, it's all merit based. It's all about what you put into it. If you're able to retain it, get the reps in, put in the work. I'll never forget in basketball, there was a saying talk about ball don't lie. Well, guess what? In jiu-jitsu, mats don't lie.
Mats do not lie. Mats do not lie.
Look, that belt covers 2 inches of your ass. You got to cover the rest of it. I'll give you a perfect example. My black belt has absolutely no power. My jiu-jitsu didn't get any better just putting that belt on. Do you know what makes it get better? Mat time. Actually putting in the work. Understand. And this is where a lot of people miss it. I spend even more time studying jiu-jitsu off the mat than I'm on the mat a lot, than I spend on the mat. I go home, for a long time. And this is something that I did. Record my roles. I mean, I tell my people all the time, record class. I'm not one of those instructors that's funny about you recording class. I would rather you record it, go home, study it, come back with meaningful questions. Then not record it, come back and don't remember anything from the last class. Go home, study this stuff, review it, take notes, record your roles. I am my own biggest critic. Mm-hmm. Man, when I even still to this day, I'm a 1st-degree black belt. I will watch a role, and it could have been a successful role, but I will just start noticing dozens of things that I did wrong. Even if my opponent didn't catch him, I caught him. Yep. I noticed those holes that I need to fix. Man, you got to be your own biggest critic if you actually want to improve at this.
Yeah, cause when you sent me the video that you have for my brown belt test, and I was watching the roll with me and Matt, and also the one with me and Brian, and yeah, I've survived. I've did pretty good, but it was like there were so many like points in it. I was like, oh my god, you should have did this. Why are you doing this? Like, dude, you know better. Like, you know better. Like, don't do that. So yeah, I've definitely picked myself apart a lot when it comes to my roles.
Now it's funny you brought up brown belt test. Let me tell you about my brown belt test. So let's go back a couple months before my brown belt test. I'm out in Cali at Mawera headquarters, which was Tomaselli Academy, and I'm putting in crazy hours with Master Joe. I'm literally hitting up every class I can. I'm just being a sponge trying to soak all of this stuff up. So at my brown belt, so before my brown belt test, I go to this no-gi class. When class is over, they're like, okay, let's roll. So I met this guy named Chris. So we start rolling and he starts just pulling out these crazy submissions like out of thin air. I'm like, okay, what is this? So I said, all right, I know I'm going to hit him with my judo, get the takedown. And literally every judo throw I went for, everything I went for, he shut down. The next day, I left the gym feeling horrible. Like, man, my jiu-jitsu is trash. I need to quit. So it was a promotion ceremony and seminar the following day. I get there. So the guy, Chris, he walks in. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, what's up? I'm feeling my feelings a little bit. So he goes and gets dressed, puts his gi on and he pulls this black belt out of his bag. I'm like, it was a no-gi class. You don't know what rank you're walking into.
Right.
So he pulls a black belt out of his bag. So I went over. I felt a little relieved. I'm like, okay. It's not like, I just got smoked by some random dude, a blue belt. He's a black belt. Okay, he was supposed to be able to do that. But so we're sitting there laughing. I said, man, even worse. None of my judo worked on you. Everybody bust out laughing. I'm like, wait, what's going on? Well, Chris is the judo instructor at headquarters. So,
oh my,
yeah, he's a double black belt. He is a black belt in judo, black belt in jiu-jitsu, was getting his first degree. I'm like, okay. That means I had as much chance as the Titanic did. None. Okay. None. It went all bad. So now forward, it's a couple months going into my brown belt test. And one of the people, that the Ukis and my that I had to fight against in the black belt test was my brown belt test was Chris. So I knew exactly what I was getting into. I made sure my judo game was on point. And man, we went during these rolls and matches, we were going for it. And we were literally going the distance. But during the striking section, it was funny because I actually lost a tooth during my brown belt test.
Right.
To the point I still have that tooth that got knocked out in my brown belt test as a souvenir. So the tooth gets knocked out. Master Joe was like, oh, you need to stop? I'm like, for what? No, let's go. If we got to turn up, I got to get him now. So
right.
If Chris Pizzo is listening to this, I always mess with him and joke with him about it. He's a great guy, great friend, but I'm still going to talk trash because, yeah, you knocked out one of my teeth, bruh. But you still my brother, though. But yeah, man.
The only sport, you can try to kill each other and still be best friends.
Yeah, Master Joe said in a minute, I want to see blood on the mat. And yeah, we do that.
So, speaking of which, Master Joe Mawera, I did have the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times. And I had another Joe Mawera black belt on here a few episodes ago. Louis Cercetis, awesome guy.
Oh, Louis is amazing.
Love that guy. So, I know, but like how long did it take you to learn how to speak Joe?
For me, it was just like immersion. Again, I loved it so much. Uh, even now, see, you guys have it much better and easier than I did.
Yeah.
Well, allow me to explain
Mm-hmm.
because in my thirst for knowledge, I had bought all of Master Joe's books. I even found his DVD set. Now, let me tell you the deal on this DVD set. It's out of print. It was with Panther Productions or promotion, something like that. And it was originally on VHS. Then it was released on DVD. But when he did this, he was much younger, and his accent was even thicker. So in listening, yeah, yeah. So, but after listening to it, I mean, I would just have to really listen. So then once I had the opportunity of meeting Master Joe and start doing privates with him, you know, I shut up, pay attention, and now I can understand everything he says.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helped because I literally was immersed in it. So at that point, it's sink or swim. Either you're gonna learn to understand what he's saying, or you're gonna waste your money and your time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and after that, it took a minute though. I'm not gonna like, oh man, I had it in the first day. No, but after really listening and understanding just how some letters are pronounced different. And the biggest one you always talk about is R. Because in Portuguese, it makes an H sound. So
Right.
when you understand that and start understanding the other thing, just other little bits and pieces of the language, then because yeah, it'll be English with some Portuguese mixed in. But it's amazing because
Yeah.
here's someone who taught themselves English, coming here not knowing it and learning it. So I mean, like even now, I'll tell you, look, since ain't nobody else listening but you and the rest of the world. Man, not between Rosetta Stone, Babbel. If you really want to learn, there's outlets out there,
Yeah.
But I mean, Master Joe, man, I love him to death. All the way to the part where I will be teaching and I will describe parts of the body the same way he does. But I've just spent so many hours and thousands of hours training with this guy that it's just a part of me.
Yeah.
And to the point where literally, if I say this patch of the leg, everybody at the gym immediately knows what it is. But so it's kind of cool because then when he comes, most people at the gym, they're just able to just flow with it, and they have it.
Yeah. They have it.
Yeah,
They definitely have it. And anyone who has a Brazilian instructor or who trained under Master Joe Moreira, everyone knows what we're talking about when we say patch or elbow or
yes,
all these other crazy little words that he uses. But we like you said, we understand them clearly because we joke about it because I imitate it too. But yeah, when he gets there and you hear him talk, it's like everything sounds so crystal clear.
And I'm not even, I'm to the point. It's not even a joke. I'm sorry. That's what it's
right.
That's just what it's called.
That's just what it's called. It's a elbow.
Right. Out of respect, I have had it wrong. That is what it is called. Like talking to Grandmaster, man, it's now it's one of those things. You cannot fall in love with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and not get used to, that Brazilian accent. It goes right along with it. All it's so deep. Now, if I can't wait to take a lot of you guys out to the annual in Cali, because Master Joe does something that's just amazing. In addition to, we'll do a 3-day seminar or 2 or 3-day seminar, a tournament, promotion, but the barbecue.
Yeah, I've heard stories. I've heard so many stories about this barbecue.
To the point. I will make some rice and beans. I mean, literally, I would do it now at home. It's a part of my diet. You always hear people talking about, just get some acai to make your jiu-jitsu better,
Right.
I feel the same way about rice and beans and sausage and steak and all. I mean, I absolutely love everything about it.
Right.
Yeah. And like I said, I've met some incredible people along the way. Mm-hmm. I just literally love it. And here's what I love most. And I'll tell on myself, and listening even to some of the episodes of the podcast, man, y'all had tears in my eyes just to look at the growth and think about when you started and when Brian started and Ray.
Man.
To see where you are now and just think where you'll be 10 years from now. I quote Chris Harder a lot because he's had a huge impression on me from being at his seminars. Right. When I'm in Cali, I have to go to the garage. I mean, I have to go to his gym. It's one of the places. He's amazing. And I can just listen to it, not only about jiu-jitsu, but the history. He's one of the Dirty Dozen, the first 12 American black belts. And you're talking about folks that have been around since it hit this country. When you start talking about Master Joe and Grandmaster, you're talking about all the way back to the inception of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's amazing, man.
Right.
The history.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, but you guys definitely y'all had me in my feelings. And I'll say this to you and the world. I don't like listening to your podcast. I told you that today. The reason I don't like listening to it is because it makes me want to go do it. And when
I'll tell you, man.
When I'm at a day job, when I'm doing something else, listening to that makes me want to go get on the mat. And when I can't, it's just frustrating. So
it's every single time, man. Every single time.
Yeah. This is a love-hate. Right now, just talking about it. I wish we could be doing this interview on the mat. That's like being hungry and having a conversation about food.
I know, right? It's because we're a glutton for punishment, man. It's like we talk about jiu-jitsu because we love it so much. We love it so much because we do it so much. So it's just a vicious cycle. I don't care. Even when we at work, we talk about jiu-jitsu. Like, let's go roll a couple.
Now,
let's go roll. Let's get a couple rolls in real quick.
I'm going to ask you this question. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to interview you real quick.
Okay.
So, have you been talking to a friend about jiu-jitsu and they had a question and you just said, you know what, come here and get down on the floor in the living room, the lawn, or wherever you are in your street clothes just to show them what it's about? Oh, has that happened to you yet?
Besides what you know.
I mean, again, it's I'd be like, you know what? Here, come here. Let me show you.
But I be wanting to do that so much when I talk to people who like who don't do jiu-jitsu and I'm trying to explain something to them, or they'll ask me a question. I'll be like, all right, come on, man, in my guard. Let's go. Let's start at work on the floor. Like, come on, in my guard. Let's break this down real quick.
Right. It's hilarious, but that's again. That's when you know you're hooked.
Man.
And I tell people all the time, I'm one of them crazy guys that you could call at 1 a.m. and be like, man, I want to train. Be like, man, it's 1 a.m. You got to give me at least 30 minutes until I get to the gym now. You know?
I mean, because I was like, I've always been like that. We've talked about that so many times. Just want to train all day. Even after my brown belt test, and I got home, I was like, dang, there ain't no class in the morning. I really want to go back to the gym right now.
So you just went through hours upon hours of torture for your brown belt and ready to do it again.
Yeah. I was so ready. Like, man, I wish we had a morning class. And
here's what happens in jiu-jitsu. You first start jiu-jitsu, you're a white belt, and you are completely lost.
Yep.
You're lost. You don't understand it. But if you stick with it, eventually some things will start to click. They'll start to come together. You'll start understanding it. You'll start liking jiu-jitsu. You'll be fascinated. You make it the blue belt. And this is where everything starts going crazy. At blue belt, everyone faces this choice. You're either going to be, yes, I like jiu-jitsu. No, I don't like jiu-jitsu. And those people will quit. Even some of those that like jiu-jitsu will still quit. But you have some that fall in love with jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Those are the ones that are going to come back and keep coming back. No matter how bad they get beat, they keep coming back. Jiu-jitsu is humbling.
Very. Very.
The tightest choke I have ever felt was from a 130-pound woman. And here I am, 6'5", 280, 120-pound woman, 130-pound woman. It didn't matter that she was a world champion. Didn't matter that, she is incredible. But that does something to your ego.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand this. People that are 100% ego will not make it in jiu-jitsu because it is so humbling. Their ego cannot handle when someone much smaller than them, weaker than them, is able to just manhandle them.
Right.
It's very humbling. And a lot of people don't get it. But when you tap or you submit, it's actually a very emotional thing. Mm-hmm. Because look, here's what you're saying. I give up because what you're doing is either going to injure me or kill me.
Right.
If you don't stop, you're either going to break something or you're going to kill me. You're going to literally strangle me. It's an emotional thing. So, I don't blame people who say, this is not for me. There's a lot of things that you have to get over to stick with and succeed in jiu-jitsu. One is the humbling, being able to get pride. I tell people, man, leave ego at the door. Do not bring it into them. Mm-hmm. It will only, ego gets people hurt. Ego will keep you from tapping when you know you need to tap.
Yep.
That's ego. I've seen people, they get submitted and now they want to fight. And I really want to say, oh, you want to have a street fight? You sure you want to fight them? They just pretty much posterized you. You really want to fight them?
Like, you really want to do that?
No. Again, the ego. Then look, we're all adults here. There's some gross things that can happen in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Look, somebody's sweat is gonna get on your body. Somebody's sweat's gonna get in your mouth. Somebody's mucus may get on you. They feet will touch your face. Pretty much somebody is going to pass gas. It's going to happen to you too. You're going to getting folded into position, smash, pressure. All of that's going to happen. You're going to see some blood on the mat. You're going to get busted lips. You'll eventually get a black eye, bruised ribs. For a while, it was funny. I think around about the time when I was, white belt, blue belt, I used to take pictures of all of my injuries, all of my new bruises. But it's a part of it. You have to get past a lot of, awkward moments. If
Mm-hmm.
if you don't believe me, wait until somebody has you in north south. Again, uh, we're not talking about your significant other, your partner. No, we're talking about yeah. What are you gonna do when you're trapped up under some guy in north south?
Oh
Yeah,
man,
it's gonna happen. Some people
it's going to happen.
some people aren't gonna smell good. Some things you're gonna have to just deal with.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just mature enough and be an adult about it to get past all of the hangups, I tell people this all the time. In jiu-jitsu, there is nothing sexual about what we do. I don't care who she is. At that moment, they just another dude on the mat trying to kill me.
Exactly.
Again, uh, I've been on the mat with Mackenzie Dern. And at that moment, guess what? She's just another person on the mat
Another,
trying to kill me.
another person on the mat trying to kill you.
Uh, and quite capable of doing it. So, uh,
no doubt about that.
so again, there's a lot of things that you have to get over, and really, it's just getting over yourself.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
if you can get over your own hang-ups and all of that, then you can do that. I'm one of those crazy people. I actually proposed to my wife on the mats. We got married
Mm-hmm.
on the mats in gis. After her first jiu-jitsu injury, she said, "This is not for her." And I can't do anything but respect that. Because,
Uh-huh.
again, do you know how many times I've had to face the same question myself?
Yeah.
Is this worth it?
Is it worth it?
Yeah, I think it is, but
I was like, I'll get back to that answer after I leave class. I'll think about it.
yeah, think about it. But it's just something. It just keeps pulling you back.
Definitely. So we kind of talked about it a little bit a few minutes ago about like you like the, I guess, your position in jiu-jitsu as a white belt, blue belt, and so on and so forth. And you being, trained as long as you have and being an instructor, like, what do you think it is about that blue belt itis or that blue belt, I forgot, well, when people quit at blue belt, like, what do you think that's like about?
Again, a lot of it, that's when they start realizing, do they love it? Do they love it, like it, or not like it?
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of people, some of them are still struggling with the humbling of jiu-jitsu, the ego, the time commitment. And even with that time commitment, it's a huge sacrifice to train 2-3 times a week, let alone if you want to be able to put that time in. That's time that you're away from your family.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens, I've had people leave and come back to training. I've had people leave to go to other gyms, and a lot of them find their way right back to H2O. I have that open.
Yeah.
I have an open door policy. I'm never one of those folk who's gonna be like, well, if you leave, you can't come back. Listen, y'all are grown. Y'all can go where you want, do what you want. The same reason I don't make people sign contracts. It's month to month. Why? Because life happens.
Right.
Something's going on. You got a class. You got family issues. It could just be money. You can take that time off. Step away from it. I'm not offended. I realize life happens. And I've told you this. I tell all of my students this. Look, If it's your wedding anniversary, I don't want to see you at jiu-jitsu. No,
Oh, dang.
no. Again, family first. You know,
Right,
uh,
right.
if you got kids, look, spend that time with them. Jiu-jitsu will still be here. Your kids are only going to be kids for a short amount of time. Spend that time with them. Make that investment. Invest
Yeah.
in your marriage. So, life happens. And some people, again, they got blue belt. That was enough accomplishment for them. After they wanted to get to the next belt. They got it. That was their goal. If their goal is the blue belt, once you've achieved that goal, now what? And a lot of them step away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Somebody that leaves at blue belt is still better at defending themselves than somebody just sitting on their sofa.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is definitely true.
And the other thing,
Definitely true.
this is the other thing that happens. I got my blue belt. Okay, I could take my foot off the gas a little bit, and I ain't got to be there at every class. But jiu-jitsu ages quickly when you off the mat.
Very quickly.
Be like, you know what? I'm going to take this month off. Then you get back, and the people that was up under you that you used to walk through easy, now they're giving you trouble or walking through you. Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot that can go on that causes people to step away from it. But pretty much, if you make it to purple belt, you have already figured out the formula. If you just keep showing up and doing the same things you did to get to purple belt, you'll make it all the way to black belt. Chris Halter says it best. It's not about who's good, it's about who's left.
It's all about who's left. Yeah. Yeah. I don't see myself going anywhere.
And you know what? And I can tell you this, yep, you're like me, you're a lifer. And what I really get excited about is I can pretty much tell you something about you that you may or may not know. Eventually you will be a school owner. You will be a head instructor. I mean, again, it's in you. So I'm not one of those people that start acting funny and don't want people to advance or don't want them to grow. I've had conversations with other black belts, and they're like, no, we slow walk people because we don't want them. If they get to a black belt, they gonna leave and go start their own stuff. Then they become our competition. So we gonna slow them down to keep them here and keep them paying tuition here. No, I'm of the mindset. Look, if you say you're ready to do it, I'm going to do everything in my power to help make it happen.
Right.
Like, okay, what gear you need? Okay, we got this extra equipment. We can help you find the place. I mean, once I see that in you, I'm going to start preparing you to be an instructor, to be a teacher, to be able to run the business, because it's really hard, like I said, to keep a martial arts school in the black, unless you want to be a McDojo. But no, I'm sorry. I'm not. I got too much integrity to do that. I would rather do it the right way. There's a lot of things about our school that some people, they just find amazing. For example, since you've been doing this, how many seminars at H2O have you ever had to pay for?
None.
And I mean, I'm talking about with 8th degree, with a 9th degree. Well, my students don't pay for seminars at my school. Why? Well, one, y'all didn't ask me to bring them in. I'm bringing them in because I want you to learn from them. So, being the businessman that I am, I budget out of the normal tuition to be able to offer you guys the opportunity to train with these people.
Yeah.
So as long as you're in good standing at H2O, when I bring Master Joe, Grandmaster, who I'm not asking you, oh, yeah, this seminar is, you need to pay for this. This is a $150 seminar, $100 seminar. No, I budget for it. I put up so much money out of tuition to be able to take care of that seminar. Again, that doesn't sit well with even a lot of the other local jiu-jitsu community, because they feel like I'm making them look bad because they are taxing their students for every little thing that goes on, everything they do. Their students got to come out of pocket. I'm not going to be one of those guys that's going to make you have to do a private to learn jiu-jitsu. If you show up in class, privates will help advance you quicker because it's more specialized for you. But again, I need to get all of the jiu-jitsu that I have in my head and in my heart out of there. The only way I can get it out of there is by giving it to you guys.
Right.
That's the only way I can get it out and it not die. So in building legacy, it's not about, how many trophies can I win? No, I'm not looking at building a trophy cabinet. I'm looking at building lives, building people. When I see the kids growing, the confidence, able to defend themselves, take care of themselves,
man,
it's like watching
awesome.
a flower that you planted just grow, man. It's amazing. And that's not just the kids. That's the adults too. Man, I mean, it was funny. And I'm going to talk about this real quick. Was watching you roll the other day. And you was rolling with one of our newer white belts. And I mean, he's game. He's going to come. He's going to expend an insane amount of energy. He's very agile. He's strong, good balance. And he's going to try to hawk and make stuff happen.
Yep.
And watching you roll with him, you was just so patient, and you just kept taking his back and choking him repeatedly. And he was grunting and everything else. And just watching you do that with so much ease, I mean, you barely broke a sweat. He was drenched. And
he was dead.
And we're talking about, I think he's like 18, 19. He is a physical specimen.
Yes.
But you were just able to just deal with him. And it was like, and I was just sitting there kind of smiling, like, because if Lamar was that kind of guy, he could really hurt him right now. But you wouldn't. You was just so gentle with him, and just, it looked like you was dealing with a toddler, with a rambunctious toddler. And it was just so beautiful to watch, because that's what jiu-jitsu is. Now, let me tell you guys a secret, since it's just you and the rest of the world listening. That toddler is how I feel when I roll with Master Joe. Yes, I become that toddler. And it's like, man.
He said, I too become that toddler.
Yeah. Again, they say you got to have 3 different types of people if you want to grow in jiu-jitsu. You need your tough competitive roles. You need somebody that's going to whoop you, that's going to expose the holes in your game. And then, excuse the language, but you need somebody that you can make your bitch, where all of your technique that you're not that sure of, you're able to work it on them and perfect it. And again, we all, even still to this day, we all still fall into all 3 of those categories. There's those I have competitive roles with. There's those that I can steamroll. And then there's those who just whoop me.
Right.
And honestly, those are the roles that I like the best.
Yeah, that's the ones you grow and learn from.
Yeah. It's so funny. They was talking about, keep grinding until your idols become your rivals. Uh, some of my best friends are guys that just used to whoop me, and now those are the ones that
Mm-hmm.
I have competitive roles with.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And then there's guys that's just on a whole nother level. Those are the ones that I search out. What love, man? I heard you ask the question before, talk about who would be your favorite roles.
Yeah.
Man, of course, Gordon Ryan, Marcelo Garcia, even Roy Harris, because I've just grew in this thing just watching them, looking at them. You know, man, the boogeyman. I mean, it's just so many of them. It's like,
Yeah.
man, those are the people that I would love to roll with, not because, oh yeah, I'm going to beat them. No, but because I know they're going to expose every imaginable hole in my game. And it keeps
Yep.
me working to fix those holes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is funny. Like, even myself, like I was thinking about, like, oh, who would I like to roll with? You know, who would that person be? But just like when I asked Brian that same question, it's like, man, it's so many to name. It's so many to name. And the further you go into your journey, that list is just gonna continue to grow.
Yeah.
Cause you're gonna see somebody's like, oh, I want to see what that's like, or I probably could do something with that. So yeah, I don't think I can necessarily name off a few, but I know that list for sure is steady growing.
Mm. Yeah. Again, man, uh, the Josh Barnett's of the world, man.
Right.
Uh, and
It's a lot of them.
yeah, and see, I was always one of those kind of quirky guys that if we're rolling and you do something to me that like really hurts or just really just nasty, my first thing as soon as that roll is over is, hey man, show me that, do that again, do that again. Wait, how'd you do that? Hmm.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's so funny. Regular head and arm choke. Boom. The impaler. And I instantly know you know what the impaler is because I teach it. But
I've seen it and felt it.
yeah. Well, Big Derek did that to me when I was a white belt. It was like,
Oh
oh
God.
wow, that is horrible. Go into the head and arm choke and slip that knee up right on the lower ribs and stomach and just drive it in while doing the head and arm choke. Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah.
He did that to me, and everybody's like, "No, I don't want to see that." I'm like, "Wait, do that one more time. Wait, how'd you do that? Here, I need you to see somebody else so I could make sure I got the position right."
Yeah.
The more it hurts, the more it was like, man, I need to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
The more helpless I felt when it was done to me, the more it motivated me to want to learn it.
Yeah. That's like oh, I think that was during Chris Halter's seminar when we was at Fresh's gym and we were talking about knee on belly. And he was like, yeah, Fresh is good for. He was like, Fresh is good for that. And I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, oh, you haven't felt Fresh's knee on belly? I was like, no. And this sadistic smile you had, I was like, hold on one second.
Do you know why?
So Fresh comes.
Let me tell you.
wait. So Fresh comes over, and Zach looks at him and was like, oh, Lamar never felt your knee on belly. And the sadistic smile that came on Fresh's face. And I'm looking like, oh, shit. So he goes straight knee on belly, and it was by far the worst pain I ever felt. But I was like, yeah, you got to do that one more time. But
yeah, it's knee on soul, man. It is.
It is definitely knee on soul.
But now that you know how to do it, you kind of, you want to do it, but then you feel bad for doing it.
Right.
The reason that you had never quite felt it is because I feel guilty doing that to y'all. Now, I can tell on myself, but now that I got you guys, I'll let you guys show that. I'll demo it, boom, with you or with Brian, with Coleman. But then when I'm like, okay, I need y'all to feel it. They're going to show you so you can feel it. because if I do it, I'm just being a bully. I'm the head instructor. I'm the black belt. If I do it to them, they'll get mad at me and not want to come back.
Right.
But you can do it to them, and it's fair game. uh, those are those teachable moments. Now, at the same time, when somebody new comes to school, they come in with the ego. And this I adopted from Fresh. I call it freshing them. You have to set the order quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Their very first roll. Now, if they're coming in and they're super timid, no, it's going to go, but when they come in headstrong, ego strong, they're going to get humbled that first roll.
Oh, yeah.
It is not going to be easy. I'm just going to let them work. I'm going to thrash them. Then once they realize there's a reason that I'm the instructor, that you should listen to me, then we can go easy.
Right.
But it's just literally setting, in mind of, don't think that because you're strong or you can bench press 300 pounds that you're going to come in here and run over everybody. Not the case.
Yeah. Not the case at all.
But it really calms people down. Now, somebody I know they're going to be doing a podcast, and I'm going to tell this story about this guy because me and him started jiu-jitsu about the same time. He was my first tournament I did. He was my opponent, and he beat me with an Americana. But now he's my student. All of these years later, here it is over a decade later, he's my student and all of that. But when he first came to the gym, he had been an MMA fighter for a while, and he was like a bull in the china shop.
Oh, yeah.
So, ripping people's clothes, bull in the china shop. It was, I said, come on, you'll roll with me. So our first roll that day lasted about 10, 15 seconds. I set my grip. I did it's a combination of drop, seonagi, baseball choke, boom. And it was brutal. Right from the start. So his ego kicked in. He pulled his gi top off, threw it to the side and said, no, you ain't going to choke me with my gi no more. So I said, all right, you're right. So we started again. I said, don't worry, I'll keep my gi top on. You can take yours off. So I took him down, went to side control. I said, don't worry, I'll choke you with my gi this time. So I threaded my gi, did a ninja roll choke. It was super brutal. That one lasted about 30 seconds. He got up, went to the bathroom, puked all over the place, left. Didn't come back for like 3 months. But when he came back, boy, was he humble.
Humble.
And he's been there ever since. MMA fighter. We done turned, his record was upside down. We done turned it around. He's getting into